Welcome to another issue of the Cool Tools Show and Tell. Our special guest this week is Lee Ellman. Hey, Lee, would you mind introducing yourself to our audience, please?
Hi, my name is Lee Ellman. I'm a lifelong New York area resident, and I have been working as an urban planner for the city of Yonkers for 40 years now. Sort of worked my way up the chain in just about every position in our department.
And along the way, I'm sure you encounter some really kind of cool tools, things that either you use professionally or things that you use in your household. So tell us about a tool that you really think is worth sharing with other people.
Well, so there's a number of really simple, old-fashioned kinds of things that I have around my house. And, I'm unlike so many people on Cool Tools, I'm not really a maker. I'm somebody that uses tools like any of us hairless apes use tools. There's stuff around the house that I've picked up over the years that I think is better than others or just does the job. So one of the very old-fashioned things, and I brought two of them, are two old-fashioned ice picks. The question is, why do I have two old-fashioned steel wood-handled ice picks in my house? Well, one of them is to heat up over the gas range to poke holes in things or to kind of weld plastic, or if the kids needed some kind of a Western rustic sign made on a piece of wood for a project. All things that you might otherwise do with kind of a soldering iron. And the other one, not that we get blocks of ice. We are not in 1910s where people bring ice up the steps for the ice box. But we do get big blocks of hard Parmesan cheese, or one of our local kind of gourmet stores sell really big blocks of really, really good chocolate. And the easiest way to off a piece was to hit it with the ice pick. And so consequently, my kids, as they were old enough to be allowed to play with sharp objects, we go, "Dad, can I get an ice pick piece of chocolate?" Go ahead. So that's a very old-fashioned thing. And actually, they make them in plastic, but I got a kick out of the fact that I've got ones with wood handles and like a steel bolster on the back. I'm assuming that when they originally made a 20-pound block of ice, you probably hit the back with a hammer. So that's one kind of gizmo.
Right. So for people who don't know what a classic vintage ice pick is, it's kind of like a wooden handle that it just fits in your fist. And then there's a long pick, just like a very sharp, it's like a screwdriver that's been sharpened to a point rather than having something flat.
Exactly. And it is, of course, shows up in all sorts of old-fashioned gangster movies as being one of the preferred ways.
Weapons, yeah. You could certainly see how it could be lethal. Actually, there are a number of makers who have an ice pick in their workshop, and one of the famous ones, Jimmy DiResta, who has been a guest on us, manufactures his own versions of an ice pick to use in your workshop for poking holes, for moving things. It's actually, if you are trying to move something, like say near a saw blade, you can use the point to hold it a little bit and move it so your finger's not close to something that's dangerous. So there actually are a number of uses in a maker workshop for an ice pick.
I think we all find the pointy thing, whether it's designed for it. I mean, it'd be interesting to find out when the home renovation world started adopting dental picks to get little bit of paint out of scroll work of Victorian homes.
Yeah.
So we all adopt something that works.
And Do you recall where you found your these ice picks with the wooden handles, these kind of classic versions? Are they still being made and sold?
They're available. You'll see them in a hardware store. I was actually in thinking about this podcast, trying to remember if I grew up with them, if it was something that my dad, who did come from the ice pick era, he came to America in 1920. So it was likely that he might have had the block of ice in his apartments in the city. But yeah, you still see these at hardware stores.
Yeah.
And particularly the good old fashioned, just plain wood floor kinds of hardware stores. Maybe less so the big box places.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of one of these universal tools, like a knife blade. You want to have like a pick, a probe. It's, the blade is kind of a straight edge long, and a probe makes a little dot, a hole. And that's very, very useful as a general purpose tool. So, Lee, what's the second tool that you want to share?
Another kitchen item, really very, very plain, but I would say these are the best pot holders that I've ever found. They are just a very, very heavy terry cloth. They have little pockets for your fingers in the back. But I never use that. I just fold them over. The fact that they are rectangular rather than square actually seems to make them work better. They just fold over very nicely, not too bulky. You're able to get a big roasting pan. I cook almost exclusively with cast iron. And so that means the handles get blisteringly hot. So if you're going to hold something for any length of time, and these are made by an outfit called Ritz mitts.
Could you describe them for those people who can't see it?
They're about, I'd say 8 inches tall by 4 or 5 inches.
When hold it up,
wide, a little bit bigger than a little bit.
Yeah.
And they come in a pair. They have a little bit of what looks like kind of reflective cloth on the back, but I don't think that really serves any greater function than creating pockets for someone's hand to go into.
Okay, wait. So there's a little slip pocket on each end that you can put your hand in, so you can use it to fold them with your hand like a Muppet mouth,
or like the lobster style silicone ones, but unlike the ones that have preformed pockets, you can use it however you like, and they're washable. They're old fashioned. They last seemingly forever, and they're one of those things that I found that just seems to work better than the average decorative pot holder that you might have in your house.
Yeah, yeah. And they're called Ritz, Ritz,
like the hotel, and then mitts like Mitz, just a rhyme on the Ritz. And they're something that I had first found at a cooking store, but then also have found that they're available online. They're available on Amazon.
Yeah, that's one of those things that are I know if you get the right thing, something as simple as that can bring you joy each time you pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with having a laugh at why do I have old-fashioned ice picks? They work. They work better than the alternative. They stay where they're supposed to.
Yeah. Okay, that's really great. So the Ritz pot holders. So you're on a roll, Lee. So what's a third one?
Oh, something that I actually found on Cool Tools that I started using, that I've told people in my office about, so we've kind of disseminated it out, is the Bish tear mender. And it is this little bottle of natural latex that you use to mend cloth. And it works almost at the speed of CA glue, but on cloth. So you can have a tear. I usually put some kind of a backing behind something, put this stuff on it, but the ends of the tear together, and in a minute or two, it's sealed up and it'll live forever.
So this fabric tails. So you have a tear in your jeans somewhere. Maybe you caught it on something. You'll put a little bit of backing underneath it,
Right.
glue both surfaces, including the little tear, and then you can mend it. And
absolutely, without sewing. And as a curiosity, I wanted to see how long the stuff lasted. So I had a tear in. That's something that's going to get washed all the time. It's not like anything else around the house. So I mended the little hole with this stuff, and I don't know, it's 25 washes or more. I don't know how long it's been, but it just holds up. And the other thing that's interesting about stuff is not just it works, but it's made in a sheltered workshop. I believe in Minneapolis. I'd have to look again. It's done by one of the lighthouse organizations, the organizations that employ the visually people with visual problems. So, along with a number of other things that they make out of this place, they bought this brand a number of years back, and it is just one of their things. So not only are you getting something that really works well, but you're also at some level, I suppose, doing good, which is nice.
Wow. So remind me again of the name of this liquid.
Well, it's called Tear Mender, but it's also, because of the person who originally made it, it's called the Bish, Bish. So if you were to Google the Bish Tear Mender, you'll find this stuff.
Okay, and presumably it doesn't really require very much. You're not going to use very much of it, so.
No, but you also don't want to buy it in unless you had some special need for it, because like super glues, it does tend to harden up.
Okay.
So I have a small bottle. I got a fair amount of use out of it, but the last time I looked at it, it was becoming a solid inside the bottle. So the small
shelf has a limited shelf life.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. You have to keep an eye on. Okay, the Bish fabric mender or tear mender. That's really great. So Lee, what's your fourth tool that you want?
All right, this is a absolute weird one.
we expect nothing less from you. Go ahead.
I have some sort of my reputation around here too, unfortunately. This is something I wrote up recently for Cool Tools. I had carpal tunnel surgery. Was able to use my right hand. My left hand, I had a horrible rugby wound. I played rugby a million years ago, and that hand doesn't work quite right. So I said, how am I going to deal with going to the bathroom with don't work? So
how do you do the bathroom without your hands, you're saying?
With hands that were not working as well.
All right.
So I bought a portable bidet. and when you need a tool, you need a tool.
All right. Okay. Do you want to describe what this portable bidet looks like?
A two-piece tool. It's got a water container, and then the top piece is the pump and spray nozzle. And you put warm water in the bottom tube. You screw the top tube on, and it has high and low power on a nozzle that you can wiggle around to the right spots.
Wow. So
they were not always advertising those dumb bears and the toilet paper. I might have been too shy to put this up.
Right. So do you have bidets at home on your regular toilets?
Oh, no, I didn't. And this was a of need. I knew that I was going to have a problem.
Yeah.
Didn't the bathroom, the ones you only tie into the cold water either. Right. So this is presumably usable, portable, if one goes on vacation.
Yeah, yeah.
As they say, convenient and discreet.
Right. The everybody that I know who has put a regular bidet on their home toilets have said they're never going back. And they have these. We did some for my mother-in-law. These kinds that you install into existing toilets. It's a little thing. So, what's this one called, and where do you find it?
I found it online. Googling portable bidets, and honest to goodness, there is no brand name on this. There are any number of little battery powered equivalents on Google.
Is this battery powered?
It takes 2A batteries.
Okay.
And it seems to keep working.
Okay.
As I said, it worked for the amount of time that I needed it to work, and seems to still be going.
Right. So this is a thing. If there's multiple makers or of them, then it's not just a one-off. There's like it's a thing that people do.
The thing that people do, and there are ones that are not battery powered. There are little squeeze bottle ones as well, but I knew that was not a thing because of the way my hands were working.
Right. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of it. So people just have to Google portable bidets, battery powered, or whatever. That's really cool. I didn't know about that. It's kind of just, again, for the people who can't see it, it's about the size of I don't know, a banana.
Yeah, that's about right, and about the thickness of a large tube of toothpaste, let's say, the plastic pump kinds of tubes of toothpaste.
Right.
And it falls together, and it's about, I don't know, 8 or 10 inches long, but the top folds in, unscrews, and folds into the bottom, so that you have something that's about 4 inches long.
Right. Yep. And you can take that, as you said, it's something you can travel with if you needed to. So that's really great. Really, thanks for those unorthodox and unconventional things that we're looking for. Thank you.
That's the big kick that I get out of all of your stuff. Recommendo. I put my noise on my computer, and the Bish stuff on Cool Tools. Somebody knows for themselves that they want to share with other people because it works.
Well, that's really great. So we have a few minutes. Do you have something that you're working on, or a project, or something that you are passionate about that you would like to share with us?
Well, we're always trying in the New York metro area, no different in most of the country. We're always trying to create more housing opportunities. It is a real task because the city that I work for, Yonkers, is fully developed. There really are no greenfield properties around. Everything is some kind of redevelopment, and everything that you do has impact on someone who's already got a home or a business next door. So it's an interesting problem to have, and it's a problem that we're seeing all over the country. California, I know that Portland, Oregon, Minneapolis are working on abolishing single-family zoning as a way to try to get more housing. My city, we're trying to build bigger around the rail stations as a way to help folks out. I would encourage people who don't know about urban planning and are looking for a really interesting, wide-ranging kind of career to consider it. Mm-hmm. I was introduced to it by a high school teacher in sociology who suggested that urban planning, his thinking was practical sociology, hands-on sociology. And it's fun because we interact, we work in the intersection between attorneys, architects, engineers, the public. Couldn't be more interesting. Haven't had a boring day.
What are the skills that would make a great urban planner? Like if you were hiring, what are you looking for in a person?
It depends. It depends on what area you're working on. We do primarily the very traditional land use planning. So we're looking at for somebody who can or willing to learn how to read a map, read plans or architectural and site plans. Someone who has some facility with math, but you don't need to be a statistician. And someone who has the ability to, learn something about the laws that back up municipal land use planning. There are urban planners who do nothing but demographics. They are essentially statisticians. There are economic development planners who are, halfway to being a finance guy at Goldman Sachs. There's all sorts of, there are people who are as much an architect as the architects that I deal with. So, and that's what makes it so incredibly interesting.
Mm-hmm. That's really great. Well, Lee, thank you again for sharing with us, giving us 4 really cool tools, and we appreciate your telling us about urban planning, and I wish you great success back in Yonkers.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great talking, Evan. Thank you.
This year, our Cool Tools blog will be 20 years old, which means we've been posting something new every day for 20 years. It's only possible because of the very engaged and knowledgeable readers and listeners like yourself. You've kept this place going, and we are very grateful for you. With this idea of 20 years in mind, we decided to try an experiment this year, and I'm inviting our guests and listeners to join me on our Cool Tool Show and Tell, which is the program that you're listening to right now. So if you feel you'd make a good guest on this podcast and have 4 uncommon tools that you'd like to share with us, please sign up on our form on the website, and we'll see about inviting you. You must be comfortable talking on a video, and you need to have some tools that you can show. We record on, as you know, on Zoom. We do a YouTube version, a video version of it, as well as an audible version. Fill out the form if you're interested, and list your 4 cool tools, and we'll see if there's a good fit. The applications aren't guaranteed in any way, and we're looking at tools that are new to us and appropriate tools, and whether the times will work for you. So we're really interested in hearing from people all over the world, not just in the US, although the tools have to be available online, easily available online. And if you are a longtime listener, you kind of know what the definition of our tools are. They're very broad. They can be anything that's handy, from something in the kitchen to something you use to travel, to a workshop, to something professional that we may not know about. We're really interested in things that we don't know anything about. So this is an open invitation. We'll give it a try. If you think you make a good guess for this podcast, fill out the form. There'll be a link somewhere on our website. And we look forward to chatting with you. Thank you.